Okay, so that's Malcolm X asking the question, who taught you to hate yourself? Who taught you to hate yourself? And that's a good segue into this first topic here, dealing with Gilbert Arenas. Okay, Gilbert Arenas, former Golden State Warrior, played in the NBA, former NBA superstar Gilbert Arenas, and he has in the past made some derogatory comments about Lupita Nyong'o. Okay, so we first learned about Lupita Nyong'o from the movie 12 Years a Slave, right? She played a enslaved African in the movie 12 Years a Slave. She's a beautiful African woman, dark-skinned African woman, and everybody knows I like chocolate. If it ain't black, I throw it back. Everybody knows this about me. Okay. And you know, I like sisters blacker than 1,000 midnights. Okay, that's just I like light-skinned women also, but you know, ain't nothing like a dark-skinned sister. I like sisters blacker than 1,000 midnights. So with that being said, there was an article, there were a couple of articles recently. We posted one yesterday from the root.com that got 2,000 likes. Okay, we posted here on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, Okay. All right, Seta Amen L said, what the hell do he think he looked like? Oh, ugly dog. Okay. All right, so the article from the root.com is entitled Gilbert Arenas once again comes for Lupita Nyong'o over her dark skin. Gilbert Arenas once again comes for Lupita Nyong'o over her dark skin. Now, this is not the first time he's attacked her and made derogatory statements about her. Okay, so I'm going to show you this picture here because we're broadcasting through Crowdcast, so I can incorporate video also. Okay, so you can actually you'll be actually able to see this as well. Okay, so it seems that Gilbert Arenas has an issue with Oscar-winning actress Lupita Nyong'o. Lupita posted a picture of herself vacationing in Mexico with her beautiful skin glistening in the sun. But Gilbert Arenas has something negative to say about it. Now, why he keeps picking on Lupita, I don't understand this. Once again, this is not his first time talking about her. Okay, and let's blow this up so you can see it here. Okay. Okay, let's blow this up so you can see it here. All right. So you have a picture of Lupita Nyong'o, and we're going to try to blow this up again. All right. So I think you can see this. Okay. So on social media, what happened was Gilbert commented on this, and there was some Instagram. He commented on Instagram. Okay. So there was somebody named WG Bombshell on Instagram who commented to Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas username on Instagram is no.chill.gil, G-I-L. He said, hey, look, it's the black girl you said that looks better in the dark. Okay, meant to say dark, better in the dark. All right. Gilbert Arenas responded back, everybody's saying her skin looks beautiful. How about her face, though? Lights off. Okay. So Gilbert Arenas goes on to say, y'all tagged me like she got a facelift and she went from a 3 to a 10. Nope, she's just a 3 in blue water with some blue blockers on. Okay. Now, this is a very beautiful sister, but you know, I really think to appreciate dark skin, if you're African American, to really appreciate dark skin, you have to love yourself. If you suffer from a self-hatred, which many African Americans suffer from because we've been stripped of African history and culture, and the dominant media teaches us that light skin is dominant, more attractive, more European features are dominant, more attractive, right? So if you're not rooted in your history and culture, To counter that, you're going to buy into these stereotypes. You're going to buy into these messages fed to you through the television, Okay. So he goes on to respond. Gilbert Arenas goes on to respond. Okay, nope, she's just a 3 in blue water with some blue blockers on. This is no diff than an ugly girl with a fat ass. Okay, I'll still beat up just with the lights off, but she is glowing though. So he's saying I'll still have sex with her, but I'm gonna have sex with her with the lights off because she's so ugly. This is what he's saying. I'll still beat it. He meant to say beat it up. Okay, meaning having sex with her. So Gilbert Arenas goes on to say, women are so funny. I'm ugly to 95% of y'all, but I ain't mad. Lights off. Okay. So it appears that I guess women in the past have said Gilbert Arenas is not attractive or something like that. But he says no.chill.gil says women are so funny. I'm ugly to 95% of y'all, but I ain't mad. Lights off. Once again, referring to the fact that he's saying to have sex with Lupita Nyonog'o, he has to have the lights off. All right. So my thing is, well, first of all, if you don't think the sister is attractive, why'd you have to comment? Why'd you have to attack her? I mean, she's vacationing. Why'd you have to do this? But this goes deeper to a psychology and goes deeper to a self-hatred, because it really sounds like he is dealing with the pain of being rejected by many African-American women. When he actually posts on social media, he says, women are so funny. I'm ugly to 95% of y'all. So one of the things we have to understand is that hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. So people who have been hurt in different ways, physical abuse, psychological abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, oftentimes become abusers themselves, okay, if they don't get the proper counseling, etc. All right. And it seems like he is dealing also with the hurt of being rejected by African-American women, and many of them saying that according to them, they think that he's ugly. All right. Even though he's a multimillionaire. Now, this is not the first time he's gone after Lupita Nyonog'o. Earlier this year, Gilbert Arenas took his first shot at Lupita Nyonog'o over her skin tone, saying that no one wants a woman that dark. No one wants a woman that dark. Speak for yourself. Compared to what I like, Lupita Nyonog'o is light skinned. Speak for yourself. No, the dark skinned sisters are very beautiful. Okay. Light skin, don't get me wrong. I like light skinned women also, but I like sisters all shades. If you see me with a white woman, that means I'm holding her for the police. Okay. I'm just saying. All right. But, well, you know, we have to dig deeper and understand that what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you have been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. Okay. So we're all trying to recover. I talk about how we're all going through a 12-step recovery process, trying to recover from the negative side effects of white supremacy and racism. We're all going through a 12-step recovery process, trying to recover from the negative side effects of white supremacy and racism. All right. And this is an example of this. OK, this self-hatred. If you don't think the sister is attractive, why'd you have to comment on social media like this? OK, and attack her. So earlier this year, earlier in 2017, Gilbert Arenas took his first shot at Lupita Nyonog'o over her skin tone, saying that no one wants a woman that dark. OK, he said, and let's go back. We'll blow this up so you can see this also. OK, because I'm using this technology here that allows us to do this crowdcast. Better use it. They just charged me yesterday. Pissed me off. Didn't want to pay the bill. All right, so let's go back to this. Okay. All right, so not to be so Gilbert Arenas early this year said not to be funny, but can you name a beautiful black woman on the outside, not brown skin, but Tyrese Black? Now, this is the article from theroot.com. Okay. And we're going to go to that article. I'm going to let you see that one also here. Okay. So let's go to that one right here. Let you see that here on Facebook. Okay, good. Okay. You can see it now. So this is the article from theroot.com entitled Gilbert Arenas once again comes for Lupita Nyong'o over her dark skin. Gilbert Arenas once again comes for Lupita Nyong'o over her dark skin. This is by Yasha Callahan. Okay. This is from July. I think it's July 21st. I think this is from. Okay. I'm not sure which date this is. Oh, yeah, maybe it's yesterday. I hate one of my pet peeves. Okay. I write articles. I'm in media. I do radio. God damn it. Will you please put the date on these goddamn articles? I hate this stuff. Don't put yesterday. Put the goddamn date on these articles. I hate that. Because I reference these articles. When you look at the New York Times and Washington Post, they don't have stupid stuff like yesterday. They put the date, and the Washington Post puts the time that it was uploaded. And if it's been updated, they put the time it was updated. Okay, I'm sorry. That stuff pisses me off. Okay, so Gilbert Arenas said not to be funny, but can you name a beautiful black woman on the outside, not brown skin, but Tyrese Black? Tyrese the singer, Tyrese the actor, Transformers, Fast and Furious franchise. Started out in a Coca-Cola commercial. Discovered in the Coca-Cola commercial. Tyrese. Okay. Okay, why is it showing this damn video here? Okay, here we go. All right, so let's go back to this. All right, so he said, when you have African features, black, when you have African features, black, then you have number one, Lupita Nyong'o, and she's cute when the lights are off. Second, you have a Juma Nasiana. Sorry, but ooh. Ew. So the black beautiful women you boost up is technically light skin or brown skin, quote unquote. Now, this is what Gilbert Arenas posted on Instagram earlier this year. Okay. This is what he posted on Instagram earlier this year. Now, after being dragged on social media and having people point out that his own daughters are dark skinned, Gilbert Arenas posted an apology. Now, think about this. Okay, think about this. Your own daughters are dark skinned, and you have these negative views about dark skinned women. Your own daughters are dark skinned, and you have these negative views about dark skinned women. So, what are you teaching your daughters? What type of self-esteem are you building for your daughters? If this is what you really think of dark skinned women. Hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. So after being dragged on social media and having people point out that his own daughters are dark skinned, Gilbert Arenas did post an apology. He did post an apology. Okay. So he said, let's go back to this. So he said, how black are, let's see here. So you had somebody who posted on social media in response to an Instagram post from pro-black thought that read, "Dear Black girl, you don't have to be mixed to be beautiful." Gilbert Arenas went on a rant, okay? And this was early this year. He said, okay, so that was the post I just read, all right? So Gilbert Arenas apologized, and he said, let's go back to this. He said, "I never say sorry for the expletive I say, but it's my fault. I read this wrong and got into my feelings. I thought it was saying if you're mixed, you're not considered black and beautiful, and my kids are mixed and dark skinned, so I perceived it how I wanted to. I just got off the phone with the only woman who tells me when my stuff stinks, and I know it comes from the heart because she will defend me in front of everyone else and cuss me out when we're alone." Okay. That's Christy Arenas. All right. I guess that's his wife. She reread what it said. "Your African features are all the attractiveness you need." Okay. Your African features are all the attractiveness you need. So I erased to kind of say sorry, but not say sorry because you can't truly blame me for reading it wrong. I went to public school, okay? So I read it how I thought it was written. I effed this up. I deserve the hatred that comes. I was trying to defend all shades of black, but that's what the post was also doing. I ended up pulling a coon comment, his word, COON moment. Sorry, all shades of black women. No need to forgive me. I'm pretty sure I'll say some effed up stuff probably in 2 weeks. I know P word prices about to double up on my ass from black women. And as far as Lupita, she ain't cute to me. Sorry. Just like I'm not cute to 95% of you. Okay. So once again, when you look at this, you see it appears a hurt from Gilbert Arenas. Now, this was posted earlier this year. This was his in response to his initial comments early in the year against Lupita Nyonog'o. All right. And it is crazy that he posted that. Now, this post on Instagram got 4,550 likes, got 2,946 comments. This is his post on Instagram. Okay. He said, "I know P word prices about to double up on my ass from black women." Okay. So I guess he's admitting he's engaged in prostitution. Okay. It's ain't something, you know, you may want to put on social media, but okay. All right. You know, I hope you know, a word of advice to athletes, be careful about what you put on social media, because when you are trying to get endorsement deals, they go look at your social media account and say, do we want to be associated with this type of, you know, athlete? Things like this. I know he's made millions, but still, that doesn't last forever. You still may want other endorsement deals or what have you. He said, and as far as Lupita, she ain't cute to me. Sorry, just like I'm not cute to 95% of you. All right. So once again, so that was early in the year. Don't know the exact date of this post. Trying to find it. I wish they put this here. So it appears it was around April of this. It was around mid-April of 2017. It appears, looking at the original post. It appears that it was original post was April 14th, 2017. So he responded right around that time. Okay. And then if you look at his response to his attack on Lupita recently, just a few days ago, he then posted once again that I'm ugly to 95% of y'all. Okay, let's go back to this here. How do we blow this up? Okay. He then posted once again, women are so funny. I'm ugly to 95% of y'all, but I ain't mad. Lights off. Okay, so once again, he said that. All right. Now, what's interesting about Lupita Nyong'o, okay, and let me show you this picture here. 2014, Lupita Nyong'o was named People Magazine's most beautiful person. People Magazine's most beautiful person. All right, in 2014. And I'm going to show you this picture here. And you got to bear with me because I'm toggling back and forth between different technologies here. And now I'm about to go to PowerPoint presentation. I want to show you this picture of Lupita Nyong'o. All right. And let's flip over here to this picture here. All right. So 2014, April 23rd, 2014, Lupita Nyong'o was named People Magazine's most beautiful person. People Magazine's most beautiful person. All right. And they did, I talk about this in some of my presentations. And I actually wrote an article about this. Right. So here is Lupita Nyong'o on the cover of People Magazine in 2014. So people got it right. Now, we don't need Europeans to validate our beauty, but People Magazine got it correct. This is a beautiful sister. Now, how is it that People Magazine can recognize her beauty, but a brother that's just a couple shades lighter than her can't? How is it that People Magazine can recognize her beauty, but a brother just a couple shades lighter than her cannot? Okay, so I wrote an article about this May 9th, 2016. All right. And ABC World News Tonight did a story about this. All right. And I have the video of the story in my article. The name of the article is called Lupita Nyong'o Explains Why She Prayed to God to Make Her Light Skin. Lupita Nyong'o explains why she prayed to God to make her light skin. So, Diane Sawyer was the anchor for this story. Debra Roberts was reporting for ABC World News Tonight. And Debra Roberts talked to Dr. Debra Royster, who's a PhD and who's a sociologist from New York University. And Dr. Debra Royster administered a white dial, black dial test with girls ages 5 to 8, okay, of different ethnicities. Girls ages 5 to 8 of different ethnicities, right? So what happened was in the video, they talk about Lupita Nyong'o praying to God that God made her light skin. She talked about a problem. She grew up in Africa, and she talked about a problem with her self-esteem and being dark skinned. Okay. And she said that at nighttime, she would pray to God. She said she had one wish when she was a child. And she said she would pray to God that God made her light skin. Before she went to bed each night, she would pray to God that God made her light skin. All right. So she was also interviewed by Glamour magazine, November 3rd, 2014, Lupita Nyong'o. And in this interview, the interviewer asked her, you receive lots of attention for your looks. You've received lots of attention for your looks. Did you grow up feeling beautiful? Did you grow up feeling beautiful? Lupita Nyong'o responded, quote, European standards of beauty are something that plague the entire world. European standards of beauty are something that plague the entire world. The idea that darker skin is not beautiful and that light skin is the key to success and love, Africa is no exception. Listen to this. So Lupita Nyonog'o is speaking from a place of hurt because she grew up in Africa not loving her dark skin. Okay. And once again, this is a beautiful sister. All right. Once again, this is a beautiful sister. She said that European standards of beauty are something that plague the entire world because white supremacy is a global system. These images are projected around the world. These images are projected around the world. She said the idea that darker skin is not beautiful, that light skin is the key to success and love. Africa is no exception. She said, when I was in the 2nd grade, one of my teachers said, quote, "Where are you going to find a husband? How are you going to find someone darker than you?" She said, I was mortified. So she grew up with this type of low self-esteem and this type of feeling inadequate based upon white supremacy and racism, based upon her skin complexion and the way other people responded to her. Okay. I think her self-esteem is much higher now. Very beautiful sister. But when we look at the Dow test that Dr. Debra Robert administered, right? We saw that the majority of the girls continued to pick the white Dow with the blonde hair as the pretty Dow, as the smart Dow, things like this, right? So Debra Roberts, who's African-American and dark-skinned, okay, asked the question to Dr. Debra Robert, sociologist administering this test. She said, what does that say to you about the messages they're getting, referring to the little girls? Now, these are girls of different ethnicities. They have Asian girls, African-American girls, white girls, etc. All right. Dr. Debra Robert, who's a white woman, responded, blonder, lighter, more European features are still seen as the most desirable. Blonder, lighter, more European features are still seen as the most desirable. So I asked the question, what happens to our children when they put a higher value on European features than their own features? What are we telling them? And why are some of our parents too ignorant to protect them from this? So this is why every African-American home has to have an education center, because see, what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. Your thoughts create feelings, your feelings create actions and behaviors, your actions and behaviors create results. Your thoughts create feelings, your feelings create actions and behaviors, your actions and behaviors create results. Okay. So when you have, this is why every African-American home has to have an education center. We have to have the African history books. We have to have the children's books with African-American characters that look like them. We have to have the DVDs and the dictionaries and all this type of information there, the science books, the math books, okay, etc. To build positive self-esteem for our children. And what happens now, I asked the question in my article, and everybody read this article. You know, we'll post the link here on the thread on Facebook, okay? And you can call in if you have any questions, 914-338-1375, questions or comments. 914-338-1375 is the call-in number if you have any questions or comments. 914-338-1375 is the call-in number if you have any questions or comments. Press the number 1 key to put you in queue to bring you on the air. Okay. 914-338-1375. How's everybody doing on Facebook? Share this broadcast on your own Facebook page. Invite your friends to tune in also. Okay. All right. So I asked the question, if African-American girls grow up and think that their skin tone is inferior, and a lot of this is fed to us through the media and the television, because in the article and in the piece from ABC World News Tonight, they say Debra Robert says the story. Debra Robert says TV may be partly to blame for the way African American children think and the way these children think. okay, and valuing the white dial with the blonde hair over the other dials. TV may be partly to blame. 76% of the faces we see are white and just 16% are black. They're talking about in primetime TV, but to a large extent, even TV that's not primetime drastically reflects this also. TV may be partly to blame. 76% of the faces we see are white and just 16% are black, which might explain the girl's response when asked who would they prefer to look like. Because when asked who would they prefer to look like, most of them said the white dial with the blonde hair. Then at the very end of the segment, they asked the girls, which dial do you want to take home with you? And there was a tug of war with these girls of different ethnicities over the white dial with the blonde hair. So if you have African-American girls who have been subjected to this, okay, this type of programming, and it's not corrected, then do they grow up to be African-American women who try to subscribe to a European standard of beauty. They may try to lighten their skin, straighten their hair, try to look like white women because they are trying to acquiesce to a European standard of beauty. When they have children and they have African-American boys, people have to understand the psychology here, because usually most boys think that their mother is beautiful. Okay. Most boys think that their mother is beautiful. All right. And the African-American mother reinforces a standard of beauty to that African-American male child. It can be an African-centered standard of beauty. It could be a European-centered standard of beauty. All right. So if you have an African-American mother who, as a girl, valued white, blonder, lighter, more European features over her own features, and she grows up to be a woman and the mother, and that's not corrected, she could then very well reinforce those same standards to that African-American male child. So then will we be surprised if he grows up to actually want a real white woman over an imitation of a white woman? Will we be surprised if he has a real tug of war over a white woman with blonde hair, just like these little girls had a tug of war over a white dial with blonde hair? So this is why the power of image is so important. One of my teachers, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, talks about how whoever controls the images controls the self-esteem, the self-development, the self-worth of the people. Whoever controls the history controls the vision. This is why media is so important. Power is the ability to define and shape reality and have other people accept your definition of reality as if it were their own. Power coming from the Latin word potere, meaning to be able, as our brother Dr. Wade Nobles teaches us. Okay, so this is why this type of information is so important. This is why we have to reclaim African history and culture, which gives us our foundation. It gives us our VIPs, our values, our interests, and our principles. Our values, our interests, and our principles. It gives us our standard of beauty. Your self-esteem is tied to your understanding of your history and culture, largely to that. And culture acts as an immune system, as Dr. Marima Ani teaches us. It acts as an immune system, which keeps foreign elements from coming in and attacking you. But your culture and your history are related to your self-image and your self-esteem, which is related to your economics, which is related to your politics. So when we look at African Americans with a $1.3 trillion economy, and we deal with this in the, the documentary Black Friday, What Legacy Will You Leave? Okay. And look out for Black Friday Part 2, The African Global Legacy, which premieres in Atlanta, October 13th, 2017. I just, 2 weekends ago, I was in Atlanta filming my portion of the film. We were on top of Stone Mountain with director Rick Mathers filming it. Right. So when you have African Americans who have a $1.3 trillion economy, and 97% of our dollars are spent with people that don't look like us, and we keep talking about, well, we need to do more business with each other, blah, 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 right? It's because we've been stripped of our history and culture, And the culture is the cohesiveness that binds the people together and teaches them the only way they're going to survive is through self-reliance. And the history gives examples of this. But the other thing is that if you feel that you are, it's subconsciously, you feel that you are inferior, and you've been fed these negative stereotypical images of yourself through white supremacy. This is why we have to go after negative images of ourselves, like TV shows like Empire. Okay. This is why we have to go after this stuff. Okay. And hold these people accountable, because this is destructive. And I've been studying media for 25 years. I've been studying African history, African-American history, culture, spiritual system, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, and media for 25 years. When you have a $1.3 trillion economy, 97% of your dollars are spent with people that don't look like you, right? The question has to be asked, if subconsciously many of us think that we are inferior, if subconsciously many of us don't like our complexion, if subconsciously we're trying to acquiesce to a European standard of beauty, would you take your hard-earned dollars that you perceive has value and spend your hard-earned dollars with people who you don't perceive have value? If you have a negative perception of yourself, would you take your hard-earned dollars that you perceive has value and spend it with people that look like you, that tacitly, subconsciously, you don't like either? So this is why this is deep, and it's psychological. It's beyond just African Americans need to do business with one another. No, we have to deal with the psychology of African Americans. We have to deal with the psychology of us and understand what happens when you strip a people of their history and culture, because it's your history and culture that gives you your VIPs, your values, your interests, and your principles, which influences your economic empowerment and influences your political empowerment. So, for instance, if we look at this, and also these are some of the things we deal with in the online course that I teach also, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Okay. And we do this online course on Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a 12-hour, 6-week online course. All the sessions are recorded. If you miss any of the sessions, you can go back and watch it over and over again. We'll post a link once again here on the thread of the broadcast. You can also go to AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. It's on the homepage of the website as well, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And as soon as you register, you can watch the first 4 weeks of the course, and we have 12 hours of bonus content also. Okay. So deal with some of this type of information in the course. So if you look at from Nielsen, AC Nielsen, right? AC Nielsen. So Nielsen calculates the TV ratings. Nielsen calculates the TV ratings. Okay. If you look at the state of the African American consumer from 2011, compiled by Nielsen.com, AC Nielsen, state of the African American consumer. If you look at this, they talk about how African American adults 18 to 49 years old watch 7.2 hours of TV per day. African American adults 18 to 49 watch 7.2 hours of TV per day. African American children watch almost 6 hours of TV per day, 5 hours and 54 minutes. And you can read the article, Media Overload, look at exactly how much youth of color consume. Media Overload, they look at exactly how much youth of color consume. This is from colorlines.com. This is from 2011. The new information is probably right along the same lines. So 6 hours of TV a day, that's 42 hours a week. And when you look at the article that I wrote, Lupita Nyonog'o explains why she prayed to God to make her light skin, right? You can read all of my articles at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can read all of my articles there, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. It says TV may be partly to blame. 76% of the faces we see are white and just 16% are black. So the number one way that European white supremacist images are fed to us, they're fed to us through the television. They're fed to us through the television. Okay. You call it TV, I call it television because it's the vision that tells lies. Now there's some good programming. There's some good information on there. I watch MSNBC between 6 and 10 hours a day. All right, because I deal with a lot of news. I do radio, not just this show. I do radio here in Detroit. And up until April of this year, I was doing national radio 5 days a week. Watch News One Now, excuse me, on TV One every morning. So there's a lot of good information. There's some good shows, but a lot of this stuff is nonsense. Now, if you look at this article here from blackamericaweb.com, this is from June 14th, 2012. This is about a new study, and the name of this article was TV Kills Black Boys' Self-Esteem. TV Kills Black Boys' Self-Esteem. Read this article. A new, precise, and exhaustive year-long study finds that watching television regularly distorts and ultimately destroys the self-esteem of young Black males who often find themselves comparing one another to the characters they view on air, leaving them feeling trapped and as if there are very few positive life paths they can aspire to. Okay? Watching television regularly distorts and ultimately destroys the self-esteem of young Black males who often find themselves comparing one another to the characters they view on air, leaving them feeling trapped and as if there are very few positive life paths they can aspire to. Very few positive life paths they can aspire to. Okay? So check out that article, and they have a link to the study in that article also. All right. Now, this is very important. This was a study. This was a joint study done by Harvard University and University of Pittsburgh. Harvard University and University of Pittsburgh. They wrote about this. AfricanGlobe.net had an article about this. Other news outlets had an article about this also. This is from January 1st, 2013. Black teens with racial pride do better in school. Black teens with racial pride do better in school. African-American teenagers perform better academically when their parents instill in them a sense of racial pride. Okay? A new study by the University of Pittsburgh and Harvard University shows that when parents use racial socialization, such as talking to their children or engaging in activities that promote feelings of racial knowledge, pride, and connection, it offsets racial discrimination's potentially negative impact on students' academic development. Let's break this down, okay? When parents use racial socialization, such as talking to their children or engaging in activities that promote feelings of racial knowledge, pride, and connection, it could be taking them to African-American History Month celebrations, Black History Month celebrations, Kwanzaa celebrations, going to the African-American History Museum, going to lectures, presentations about our history, going to see documentaries. Okay, all of these things. When parents use racial socialization, such as talking to their children about our history, about our culture, talking about the beauty of Africanness, the beauty of Blackness, etc., our ingenuity, our inventors, our skin complexion, or engaging in activities that promote feelings of racial knowledge, racial pride, and connection to African history, to African culture. This offsets discrimination's potentially negative impact on students' academic development. But not only that, it's going to have a positive impact on them throughout their life when they go out into the real world. Well, if this is the case, why do you have people telling African Americans to forget about your history, get over slavery, don't talk about that? In March, around the time of St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, you have these memes and you have this false narrative being pushed by white supremacists saying that the Irish were slaves in America also, and that you don't hear them complaining about slavery. So African Americans should stop. First of all, Irish were not slaves. Irish were indentured servants. Irish were not slaves. Okay. And there's been numerous work dealing with this. New York Times had a big article debunking this myth. All right. So you don't hear Jews saying we should forget the Holocaust and don't talk about the Holocaust and things like this. You know, every ethnic group in America, for the most part, have their history and culture intact, and they use it to fight for scarce wealth, power, and resources. And they hold on to that culture. That culture and history gives them a sense of who they are. It binds them together. Okay. And they build memorials dealing with their history. They have museums to document their history. They have documentaries. They even have a channel dedicated to their history called the History Channel. You have the American Heroes channels. Europeans create institutions to document their history, and other people do the same thing. Okay. But when it comes to us, you have people telling us to forget about all that. No, hold on. We were the first people on the face of the earth. Our history is older than anybody else's. Maybe that's why you want us to forget it. Maybe that's why you want us to forget it. Okay. So we have to understand how all this is interconnected and interrelated. And this at the root and being stripped of that history and culture leads to the self-hatred that will cause a multimillionaire like Gilbert Arenas, who has fame, fortune, and a following, to attack a high-profile African-American sister like Lupita Nyonog'o. All right, so read that article that I wrote. Lupita Nyonog'o explains why she prayed to God to make her light skin. Why she prayed to God to make her light skin. Okay. You can, once again, you can read all of my articles at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right. Okay. And if you have a question or comment, give us a call, 914-338-1375, 914-338-1375. Press the number 1 key to put you in queue so we could bring you on the air. Press the number 1 key to put you in queue so we could bring you on the air. We're going to try to get to all these topics tonight, and things that I can't get to tonight. We'll deal with Sunday night on my radio show, the African History Network show on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, the voice of Detroit. We'll deal with some of this there also. I may have to do a subsequent broadcast to deal with some of these topics, because these are topics I haven't been able, I've been so busy, haven't been able to get to these topics. We're going to go to the phone lines in just a minute. 914-338-1375 is the call-in number. If you have a question or comment, once again, we'll post it again. 914-338-1375. That's the number 1 key if you have a question or comment. Also, want to remind you, so at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, we have the at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, we have the Black Friday documentaries. I'm in both of these from director Rick Mathis. Black Friday, the first one, Black Friday, What Legacy Will You Leave? We just got some more in. Black Friday, What Legacy Will You Leave? And Black Friday, the remix, What Legacy Are You Building? Okay. So these documentaries deal with, number 1, strategies to recycle our $1.3 trillion economy. Strategies to recycle our $1.3 trillion economy. They also deal with strategies to create intergenerational wealth for our children. So we're passing on assets as opposed to liabilities. And they also deal with understanding where our concepts of money come from, because oftentimes the way our parents think about money influences the way we think about money, whether it's positive or negative. Okay. And you see me with my Black Friday, t-shirt on also. Okay. And then we have the elementary genocide documentaries as well, dealing with the school to prison pipeline from director Raheem Shabazz, elementary genocide 1 and 2. Also in the Black Friday documentaries, who's in here? Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Umar Johnson, Tony Browder, Dr. George Frazier, hip hop artist David Banner, Hill Harper, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Chuck D from Public Enemy, Ice-T, Dr. Boyce Watkins, ton of people in the Black Friday documentaries. And then in elementary genocide 1 and 2, this deals with the school to prison pipeline, deals with education, the miseducation of our children, how to correct that. You have Dr. Umar Johnson, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr. Steve Perry. You got hip hop artist Killer Mike, a lot of people in these also. So these are available at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And for each copy of any of the documentaries there that you purchase, any of these that you purchase, as well as the hidden color documentaries, you'll get one of my DVD presentations free also. Okay. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have bundle packs there as well. Look out for me in Black Friday Part 2, the Global African Legacy, coming out October 13th in 2017. And look out for me in Elementary Genocide Part 3 that comes out August 22nd, 2017. I'm in there with Professor Kaba Hiawatha Kamene, who we had on the show last Thursday, one of my teachers, formerly known as Booker T. Coleman, and also Professor James Small, another one of my teachers as well. Okay.